Was this the appropriate time or place for President Trump to make these statements?
Absolutely not. And first of all, what he should have done is what I want to do right now, and that is to extend my heartfelt condolences to the family members who are still waiting to be reunited with their loved ones' remains. A hearty thank you to the first responders who have been working to recover those bodies under extraordinarily difficult circumstances. That is what the American people needed yesterday, is to hear our leader to provide comfort and not to speculate and to bring out his favorite boogeyman, as you said, and to jump to conclusions that Black people or women working at the FAA caused this tragedy.
In fact, the idea he blasted the FAA, as you heard, for hiring people with disabilities. But a pilot program, Congresswoman, that started during his first administration and ensured people with disabilities would have the same hiring standards and hiring practices as anyone else. Why would he be blaming them in particular? What are we missing?
Because what he always does is, rather than looking at the facts, rather than being responsible and letting the investigation happen, look at what actually caused this accident and then do something to make sure that something like this never happens again. He takes this opportunity to politicize it and to stoke division in this country, which he's been doing since day one of this administration and since he first ran for president 9 years ago.
Let me ask you about the FAA. They say that they need, if I got my number correct, about 3,000 more air traffic controllers. Trump wants federal employees to maybe take a buyout. What impact could that have?
That would have a huge impact on what we already have as a shortage, and you already have workers that are stressed and trying to meet the needs to keep the American people safe. He also ousted the head of the FAA and has created chaos since he's come into office. What we need right now is to let the NTSB do its job to find out what causes occurred to lead to this tragedy, and then we need to take action to make sure that something like this never happens again.
While we are waiting for all the information to unfold, it's important to note that you were one of the members of Congress who voted against expanding the, ability for more flights to come in and out of this airport. Do you stand by that today?
Absolutely. All of the Democratic members of the Virginia delegation have been speaking out for a long time that this airport is already too congested. You've talked about the complicated traffic patterns here. We all asked the committees not to put new slots in. We all voted against the bill for that very reason.
This is an administration that's brand new, although it's a familiar one. Some of the cabinet members, within hours of having even been sworn in, Transportation Secretary, the Defense Secretary. Do you have any concerns about the ability of this administration to navigate this tragedy and understand what happened?
If this administration takes the responsible road and says we are going to look at the facts, we are going to look at what actually caused this tragedy and act to make sure it never happens again. But they've shown from day one, they're not interested in helping people and solving problems. They are interested in stoking chaos and division. They are interested in retribution against their political enemies. But that is not what the American people want. That is not what they expect of their leaders in a moment like this.
You're, I believe, on the Armed Services Committee as well, Congresswoman. We lost 3 members of the military who were in that Black Hawk helicopter. Do you have any information as to what that investigation will look like or whether their training practices might be impacted?
That is part of what the Army and the NTSB will work together with all of the relevant agencies to determine. They are going to look at the people involved, the equipment involved, and the atmosphere involved to see, was it human error? Was it equipment? Was it confusion because of the congestion here? And so I trust the Army and the NTSB and all of our federal partners and everyone involved to look at the facts. And then if they see changes that need to be made, to bring that to Congress's attention, and we will act.
Is there bipartisan support behind that at this point?
I certainly hope so.